Okay, in this lesson we are going to be looking at sum and difference of cubes. I want you to notice that these problems will also have two terms in them, and it'll be something cubed and then either plus or minus something else that's been cubed. So here's the formulas for them. What I want you to kind of notice a little pattern so that you don't have to sit and memorize so much is this. If this sign is a plus, this sign is a plus. Same thing. If this is a minus, this is a minus. Okay? This sign will always be the opposite. So since this was positive, this is a minus. Since this was negative, this was a plus. And then this sign is always positive. Okay? So if you're getting mixed up about what's what, that's just something to help you. All right, so we're going to do this, and again, these have two terms in them, and they will be something cubed and then plus or minus something cubed. So what you need to think about is what's being cubed. So in this case, I just have x that's being cubed. Here, I need to figure out what number cubed makes 343. If you don't know that off the top of your head, you can use your calculator and do the opposite of cubing, which would be to cube root it. And I will show you where that is here on your calculators. If we go back to our main screen on our calculator here, the cube root button, I don't know if you can see it, but the cube root button is, I can't even see it on this screen. I have to see my calculator. It's so small. The cube root button, well, if you go to math, and then number 4 is the cube root button. So I can type in the cube root of 343, and that will tell me that it's 7. So 7 cubed is 343. Okay, 7 cubed is 343. So now, this is what I know. I know that when I write this like this, then that my A is x, and that my B is 7. And now I'm going to go ahead and follow this formula on the right to be able to factor this, okay? So I will follow this formula right here, and I'm going to just plug everything in. So here we go. A is x. B is 7 times a squared, so that's x squared will just be x squared, minus, and now I have to take a times b, so I have to take x times 7, which would be 7x, and then b squared, b is 7, so 7 squared would be 49, and that's this problem factored. And I know it looks like it got more complicated than simplified, but you will see later that this will help you. Okay, here's another one. And again, you should always look for GCFs. Here there is not a number or an x term that I could pull out of 8 and 27 or x's or whatever. Okay, so now you have to figure out what's been cubed. All right, so what times what would give us 8x cubed? Well, let's just deal with the number first. The cube root of 8 is 2. It's 2 times 2 times 2, that makes 8. And then it's x times x times x, that makes x cubed. So this would be 2x that's been cubed. And to get 27, it's 3 that's been cubed. So now what I know is that A is 2x and that B would be 3. And now I will go ahead and plug everything into this formula. Notice this is a minus. I'm subtracting two things, so I'm going to use the difference of cubes formula and plug everything in. All right, so here we go. I'm at A, which my A is 2x, minus my B. Okay, my B is 3. And then this is what gets tricky for people. I have to take A and square it. And people do this wrong all the time because they just take the x and square it and not the 2 and square it. So this really means I have to take 2x and square it, which is going to give me 4x squared. And now I have to take a times b. So a times b would be 2x times 3, which would be 6x. And now I have to take b and square it. My b is my 3, so 3 squared would be 9. And that's what this one would look like. All right, we'll do a couple more. Again, I do not have any GCFs here. There's not a number that I can pull out of 125 and 64. And so I will just go with it. This is an addition sign in between, so I'm going to use the sum of addition sign in between, so I'm going to use the sum of cubes formula. Okay, again, I have to think about what's been cubed and what's been cubed to get 64. Okay, so if you don't know the cube root of 125, you can type that into your calculator using the math button and then number 4. But the cube root of 125 is 5. And then x times x times x makes x cubed. So that would be 5x that's been cubed. 5x cubed gives me 125x cubed. And then 4 cubed gives me 64. So now I know that my a is 5x and that my b is 4. Okay, and I will go ahead and follow my formula again. So here we go. I have a, which is 5x, plus b, which is 4, times a squared. And again, be careful. That really means that you have to take 5x and square it. And when you take 5x and square it, don't forget to square the 5. So this becomes 25x squared. And then I have minus a times b. So a is 5x and b is 4. So 5x times 4 would be 20x. And then plus, and then b squared. And b is 4, and 4 squared would be 16. And there's that one. And then the next one is just slightly different because I do have a GCF in this one. So I want to make sure that I pull that out. 5 and 40 are both divisible by 5, and I can also pull an x out of this problem. So I will have 5x that I can pull out of here. And then I will have, when I pull that out, if I divide this by 5x, I just have y cubed. If I divide this by 5x, I have 8. Okay, and I can now, this part right here is a difference of cubes. So I'm just going to rewrite this. This part, y cubed is obviously y cubed, and then 2 cubed is how I get the 8. So my a is y, and my b is 2. Don't forget to bring this 5x down. You can't ignore that. So make sure that you're doing that and that you don't just drop it. Okay, so now we're going to use our formula for this part. And I will do a, which is y, minus b, which is 2, times a squared, so y squared, plus a times b, so y times 2, which would be 2y, plus b squared, so b is 2, and 2 squared is 4. So that's what this one would look like once it's all simplified. All right, that is sum and difference of cubes. I want to tell you too, you guys, by the way, sometimes you'll get something that looks like this, and lots of people don't recognize that as a difference of cubes, but 1 times 1 times 1 is 1, so this would be y cubed minus 1 cubed, and hopefully then you can see that your a would be y and your b would be 1. So just know that that might pop up in your homework or your accelerated math or something, and it is a sum and difference of cubes, okay? So just know that.